Hey, are you still freeloading from my parents at their house? Don't you think it's getting time for you to get out of that place for me? What? Freeloading? What are you talking about, Maggie? I understand that I am living with your parents within their home, but I don't think what I'm doing here could be considered freeloading in any way. Not even close to freeloading, actually. Well, from what I've seen and heard, you're freeloading there. You aren't even a part of my family, and yet you've been living off them for the longest time now without giving anything back to anyone in return. To me, it seems you have a bit of a misunderstanding about this whole situation here, but me being here and living with your family was not my choice. After my husband and your parents talked for a little while, it was decided that I'd come live here with them. But I'm pretty indifferent on living here with them or not, so... So now you're going to try and make it look like you're not wanting to live there? I know for a fact that you're lying right now. And what makes you so confident that I'm lying to you about everything going on over here right now? Maggie, can you tell me what the heck you want to say to me right now? Well, I'm going to be coming home to my parents' house starting tomorrow, and we'll be living there from now on. Huh? You're coming back? You're coming back to live with us here? You're the one that's freeloading off everyone, so don't you even try to say that I'm coming back to live there with you when it's not your place or family in the first place. That place is my parents' house, my house. So I'm allowed to come back to live there with them whenever I please. And I completely understand that, but coming back to live here starting tomorrow is too soon. And this is the first I'm hearing anything about you coming back here. Are you coming back here by yourself to live in this house? What about your family? Are you an idiot? What? I'm not coming back there to live on my own. I'll have my family come with me as well back to my parents' house. But when you say your whole family, that means you'll be bringing all 3 of your kids along with you as well, right? There's no way this house can fit everyone in it comfortably. Well, that has nothing to do with the freeloading parasite living off my family's money. I'm the one that gets to choose what happens there in the end, right? So go ahead and shut the hell up for me, would you? But I'm living in this house as well, so I think I have the right to express my opinions on this. And right now, this house is way too small to have the amount of people living in it that you say there will be. Then how about you get out of there? I think it's the perfect time for you to move into that little doghouse now that it's opened back up. Are you kidding me right now? Well, I'm just telling you what's going to be happening starting tomorrow. If you want to get out of that house, then be my guest and get lost. My family and I will be coming to live in that house, and there's nothing you can do to stop that. So any kind of complaining you try and do about it will be ignored. Well, I'm going to talk with your mom and with Nate about this. But I'm going to tell you right now that it might be harder than you think moving into this house with your 3 kids. I really have no idea why you're wanting to move back into this house again without any prior warnings to us, but... Nate, have you heard about how Maggie thinks she can come back to live in your parents' house again? No matter what she's trying to do or what she thinks, that'll be impossible right now with how small this place is.
Huh? Why would it be impossible?
You're asking me? What the heck, Nate? There's everything to do with this place being too small as it is, as well as those things to do with the payments on the house.
But that place is also my older sister's place that she can call home. So you can't say no or anything like that to her. Both you and I do not have the right to do that to even her.
No, I think we have the right to, actually.
And another thing, it's not just my older sister coming back, but her husband and family as well. So paying for the place will become a lot easier, right? Having them back to help us out. Her husband works at a pretty decent job, I've heard.
But do you not find all of this a little bit strange right now? If he was working a decent job and living a pretty normal life with his family, then why would they all be choosing to move back to Maggie's parents' house?
I have no clue about that.
But Nate, to me, having the amount of people in the house grow even larger is not going to work.
Even if you say it won't work, that's not going to change things in her mind. You are my wife, and this is my parents' house. So, you're gonna have to do your best to deal with all of this.
But I'm already doing my best to deal with things here as they are. If anything, you should be trying a little harder to fix things. Anyway, go and tell her that it's not going to be possible to live here with all of us, okay? We've already moved back into the house. But you didn't even bother giving any of us a hand, you useless dog. Huh? Are you really telling me that you've moved back into your parents' house already? I had told Nate to tell you not to move into the house yesterday, but it seems he didn't bother telling you anything after all. And I told you that trying to have a say in any of this would be useless, didn't I? We already moved into my parents' house, and there's nothing you can do to stop any of us now. But bringing all 3 of your kids along with you to move into the same house that I'm living in right now, that's not going to go well for any of us. Did you even stop to think about how things would work out after you moved into the house? You're being pretty dang annoying for someone that doesn't have to pay a dime or do anything to live in the house. Someone that's not going to help anyone in the house out with anything should go live in the doghouse. So you plan to keep treating me like someone less than your own family unless I leave the house then, huh? Do you really think you can get away with saying I have no right to say my opinion regarding the house? Well, that seems to be the case right now. You are nothing more than the wife of my little brother, so you live in the house with the least rights out of all of us. Well, anyway, I've already moved into the house now with my family, so you can give up now. My family wants to live in this house now, so you and my little brother better not do anything to disturb us. And I'll make sure of that by having you moved out into the doghouse to live. I'd rather just go back home to my parents' house. Is that so? Well, that's even better for us, actually. I really can no longer manage sitting here watching you continue with that crap that ends up affecting all of us in the end. And you just expected that I'd be the one having to move into that small doghouse? You have no right saying that to me when you don't even understand what's been going on at your parents' house for the longest time now. At this point, you are being such a brainless fool that I have nothing left to say to you. So if you really want to come back into this house without listening to a word I've said, go right ahead. But I'm going to move back to my parents' house instead of staying with all of you. I'm not sure what'll happen because of this, but you're going to be the one responsible for it. What a great little speech. Now get the hell out of here. You have nothing to do with my family. Well then, I'll be on my way. I'll be back to get a lot of my bigger things later, but for right now, I want to be far away from all of you. I really don't even have the drive to come back to that house right now, so I'm going back to my parents when I'm finished with all my tasks. Now, goodbye. Hey, Abigail! What the hell have you done? What do you mean, what the hell have I done? All I remember doing was leaving your parents' house just as you asked me to. What kind of complaint could you possibly have for me now? This is not some kind of complaint. Right now, I'm in trouble over here. I want to know why the hell my parents and Nate are starting to panic so much after hearing about you leaving our house. Oh, now they want to freak out? It's been a few days now since I got up and left everyone with no calls from them, so I assumed they were all okay. They told me that you had gone back to your parents for a little bit to visit them. But while you've been out of the house back at your folks' place, the bill for this house came in the mail and my parents started to panic because they need you back here right now. Where the hell are you and what are you doing? As I said, I've gone back to my parents' house for good. And I'm sure me doing such a thing would get your family panicked. After all, I was the one paying the bills on that house each month. Huh? You were? Did you think that me being Nate's wife meant that I wouldn't be forced to have to pay the bills around there? Well, I guess you wouldn't have expected that, considering you never knew a thing about the current situation in that house. Why have you been the one paying the bills on this house, though? What about my dad? What about Nate? Years ago, your dad got too aggressive with his gambling addiction and lost all of his money on some terrible bets. And as for Nate, he was laid off from his job last year, and ever since then, he's been saying he's been trying for a new job. The whole reason for us going and living with your parents is because of their terrible financial situation. And since I was able to support both Nate and I with my income alone, everyone assumed that I'd be able to handle 2 more people and their house. And ever since the day we had to start living with your parents again, I've been the only one working and bringing in any sort of money. every single penny I've worked so hard for has gone into paying for everyone in the house and the bills. Did you not know anything about that? What the hell, Abigail? I never heard a thing about that going on here. Well, whether you heard about it or not, I don't care. Anyway, this all happened at the perfect time for me. What do you mean this happened at the perfect time for you? Well, living in that house with everyone was really beginning to drive me up the wall. And for the longest time, I've been wanting to divorce your brother. I'm amazed that all of this had to happen right now, though. But hey, that's all perfect for me. Huh? You're telling me that you've been wanting to divorce Nate for a long time? Well, yeah. And why wouldn't I have been wanting that? I've been working my butt off just to give all my earnings away to both my husband and his parents. And Nate has abused the current situation to the point he doesn't even care to work anymore, instead of just going out to play all day. All I've been for your family is their gosh dang ATM. I highly doubt that's the case. Well, anyway, because of what's all happened, I'm going to be living with my parents now and divorcing Nate. Thank freaking God, though. Getting the chance to leave so soon. Maggie, thank you for giving me this chance. Giving you the chance? No, that's not what I wanted to give you. So wait, you're going to leave my brother now, too? I've already gotten in touch with a lawyer about it, and the word that I'll be leaving him should be arriving very soon. Maggie, I don't have the will to be a part of your family any longer. Living with everyone has been the worst part of my life thus far, so I'm glad I have this chance to leave. Does Nate know about all of this, though? For the past few days, he and my parents have all been freaking out because you haven't come home. I'm sure. The only way they were all able to live was with the help of my money. You're telling me that my own brother had to rely on you? I am. I bet if you asked him about that right now, he'd say the same thing. How does that sound? How about you go and talk with him about all of this? But maybe if he were to learn that it's all because of you that I've finally been given the chance to divorce him, well, Nate might just end up going off on you instead of me because of that. Wait a minute, Abigail. I never knew a thing about any of this. I didn't mean to have you go and divorce Nate because of this. I just wanted you to know who the boss in this family was by picking on you a little. Well, that was a great way to get me to realize I needed to get out of that house, so thank you, Maggie. Please don't say you'll move back in with your parents for good. Huh? Why are you saying all of that to me now? You were the one saying that I was a freeloading stranger this whole time at your parents' house. And then you continued to tell me to move into the doghouse out back once your family got settled in. If I had to make the choice between living in that tiny and run-down hut or going back to my parents' house, of course I'd choose my parents' house. I think that we had a bit of a misunderstanding back then, though. When I was telling you all of that, I didn't know how you were the one paying for this house and my family. I'm so sorry for not learning about all of that beforehand. Look, I've just apologized to you. Now, you can forgive me, right? Maggie, this is not about me forgiving you or not. So the apologies that you're giving to me right now mean nothing to me. There's no freaking way, though. I'm your husband's older sister. You are meant to listen to me and take every word I say as law. I'm leaving him soon, though. So your word being law and all that doesn't mean crap to me. How about you start to take responsibility for what you've started? I mean, I already listened to most of what you said a few days ago, so that should be enough for you. You told me to leave the house, and so I did. And because of that, I'm able to divorce your brother now. Are you trying to say that this is all my fault, then? Not trying. It is all your fault. It's because of what you'd done that I'm finally able to wake up to days filled with feelings besides that of stress. Have you learned now that you can't take back what you say? Wait, at least forgive me this one time, Abigail. You know that I never did any of this out of hate towards you, right? Since you know that already, then we can make up now. What are you talking about? Are you telling me that if you never had any intentions of being rude to me, that it's okay to say whatever you'd like? If that's your way of thinking about all of this, maybe it's time you go back to elementary school with your 3 kids and start the hell over. You need to learn about thinking before you speak. I am apologizing to you for all that, though. So stop talking about me like I'm some child. Come on now. You come back here and make up with Nate for me. Make up with Nate? There's no merit to that for me, so no way. Huh? Abigail? I'm tired of being looked down on by all you jerks. For a while now, I've done my best to fake a smile and act as though none of it bothered me, but now there's no reason for me to do that anymore. I am over this whole show of being a part of your brain-dead family and all their BS. Abigail, were you always the kind of woman to talk like that? I'm leaving your brother for good now, so who cares if I'm the nice girl anymore or not? And at this point, I'm tired of dealing with your crap as well, Maggie. You actually think you could sweep all your crap under the rug now and have me come back to live with you? No freaking way, you dog! But if you don't come back, I'll be next! Having to live in that small house was already tough, but then you came along with your 3 kids thinking it could work out. Stop playing around, Maggie. Your husband has a good job, so why the hell do you have to come back to live with your parents and brother when he can pay for you all to have a nice life somewhere else? That's not going to happen. Why not? My husband has taken on a lot of debt, and at the moment, it's all been going downhill for us. So our reasoning for coming back to my parents' place was to get help from them. Oh? So you just wanted to come back as little parasites to feed off your family then? This is not the time to be throwing words like that around. Well, no matter what you have to say about things now, I've had enough. Why? Do you not feel bad about any of this? Nope. I'm just a stranger. And I'm about to divorce your brother, so of course I don't feel a dang thing. Heck, you just told me you were bringing those kids of yours into your parents' house to be cared for by us, right? I mean, cared for by me, right? That's so far beyond impossible for me that I would collapse from disbelief had I stuck around to hear that face to face. Now go run along and get back to joining your family as you all go to hell. And I'm sure that you'll have to start paying off some loans soon as well for them, so good luck! In the end, the payments on the house and for the family had stopped, and everyone there was in a huge pinch. And as for Maggie and her family, who had been surrounded by debt, they weren't able to achieve their goal of leeching off her parents and started to slip down the slippery slope they'd been teetering on the edge of. Abigail was able to get a divorce from Nate, and that was followed by her being able to finally cut ties with that whole freeloading family. But since Abigail was no longer around, Maggie began to join her family in panic, followed by her finding a job herself, and then starting a new life of having to work hard all day and come home to caring for her 3 kids and the rest of the family all night. The cycle will continue like that for the rest of time, and I'm sure neither Maggie nor the rest of her disgraceful family will find a way out of it. At least in Abigail's world, she'll soon be able to forget about that whole family and move on to a fresh life where she can start saving up her well-earned money instead of handing it out to freeloaders. I'm sure Abigail will always be thankful for what Maggie did to help set her free.
Hey Caroline, are you free right now? I hope you've thought about moving in together. We've talked about it so many times. We haven't talked about it at all since then. I'm still doing okay, but it's been 3 years since my husband passed away. I'm not young anymore. I think it's a good idea for us to start living together sooner rather than later. Good evening, Fiona. That? Let me be honest with you, since you don't seem to understand in a roundabout way. We can't have another person live here with us at this moment. Huh? What do you think you're saying that based on? You are currently unemployed, right? Daniel told me that you recently quit your part-time job. If you really want to live with us, you have to work. Huh? Instead of taking care of an old lady, you want me to work? Why should I work if I'm going to live with my son and his wife? How dare you talk to me like that? I mean, you're being supported by him, and who do you think you are? But I'm working too. Huh? Working? Don't make me laugh. A shifty part-timer doesn't have a right to speak like that. No, I work full-time. Don't get me wrong. I quit my job in preparation for moving in with you guys. What? It's hard for me to commute. It takes me an hour to get to my workplace from your house. In that case, I have no choice but to quit. Your job was cashier, right? Then why don't you find one nearby before you move in? You're so picky. All about money. Forget it. I've decided to move in with you. And you know, I don't like small houses and I can't live with 3 people in a 1DK apartment. Buy a house or an apartment right away. At least sign a lease for a bigger apartment and move out as soon as possible. No. What is impossible is impossible. Please do not decide on your own. The size should be at least 3 LDK. Please don't behave recklessly. I didn't agree to live with you. I didn't ask for your opinion. This is a mother-in-law's decision. I'll talk to Daniel since he's the head of the family and we'll decide as we go along. So you should start packing your things too. That's terrible. That's too selfish. Fiona, what did you do? You sent a resignation letter to my workplace without my permission? Yes, I did. It was for your own good. I'm glad they received it. You're glad? So it was you after all. Why would you do that? Why are you harassing me like that? If you quit the company, you wouldn't know what to do. Now you'll have to move in with me. Fiona, you were close. That resignation letter is invalid. Huh? Of course. It wasn't written by me. Besides, I'm a competent person at my company. Do you know what will happen if I quit? You don't have to get so hyper. You just need to concentrate on moving out and getting ready to move in with me, and then find another job when you move back in. It may be difficult to find a full-time job, but there are plenty of part-time jobs out there. I can't be that patient. A part-time? Do you think we have enough savings? Huh? I've had many discussions with Daniel, but he doesn't even think about earning more. I want him to think more about the future and work more diligently, and yet... Can you tell him about it? If you want to live together, that's the first step. Caroline, do you even know what you're saying? You spend that much money? Excuse me? How can you say that his income is not enough? How can you live like that? Do you know how much his income is? Of course! I am his mother. Of course I know. I heard it directly from him. Do you really think, with that amount of money, that we can both live a normal life without any jobs? Yes! Why do you ask? If you don't spend much money outside, we will have more than enough. Actually, more! I'm not spending a lot. I'm saving it. Oh my! How extravagant you are! I can't believe you need to save money with his income. Excuse me, Fiona? I feel we are not on the same page. Are you okay? Do you really know how much he earns? You're persistent! I told you I heard from him. Is your sense of finances okay? How have you been living until now? That's rude. Same to you. I'm a normal person. I can say that saving money is my hobby. I thought it's you who have a different sense. Oh my God! That's stubbornness and boldness. We can't communicate. I'll talk it over with Daniel. Oh, by the way, he has been staying at your house, right? Yes, I'm keeping him around. It would be better if he stayed here so that I can talk to him. He doesn't respond to any texts or calls from me. Why is that? I don't want him to get on your bad side. I don't want you to interfere with our plans to move in together. Hey, please don't proceed with the conversation on your own. If I respect your opinion, which you are against, we will not be able to move on at all. I'll tell you when everything is finalized regarding moving in together. I can't take that in. I am his wife. That attitude is only for now. Once we start living together, I will put a lot of effort into training you, so be prepared. Hey sis, long time no see. Can I talk to you? I'm in a bit of trouble. Hey Keith, long time no see. What's up?
I'm on my way home from a business trip.
Oh, really? Finally? Congratulations!
Well, my house was stolen. I mean, it's like, I know it's kind of weird.
Huh? What are you talking about? There's no way that could happen.
It's been a while since I went home, so I thought I'd use this weekend to do some maintenance on my house over here. But it seems like someone is living in there. I went there at night and the lights were on.
What? We have to call the police about that.
Of course, I was in a hurry and thought about doing that too. But when I asked the neighbors first, they told me that someone moved in a week ago. I don't want to tell you this, but I heard your husband and his mother's name.
What? How is that possible?
I don't know. I thought it would be a good idea to check with you before I call the police since you have the key to my house, so I texted you. Do you have any idea?
Hold on a second. I want to check on something. Sorry, I think they've done it. It's my fault.
What happened?
I put the key in the safe so that I don't lose, but it's missing. Only Daniel and I know the password to that safe, so maybe he took it.
Why in the world would they do that?
Actually, his mother was pushing me to move in with her, but I told her that in order to live with us, she would have to work too. She told me that she had already quit her part-time job, and I didn't have to work if I'm going to live with her.
Well, you can't live like that. You work full-time, so you guys are able to make the living, right? She doesn't have a job and wants to live with you?
I've tried to explain it to her, but it seemed like we were not on the same page. Daniel is at her house and ignoring my calls. I've been having a hard time communicating with them, and it has led to this mess.
I see. They have done it in a very sneaky way. So, they decide everything without talking to you and making you trouble since you don't listen to them. I don't know why, but I'm guessing that they decided to use my house to live. That's a pretty bold move. Perhaps they took the advantage of the fact that the house owner, which is me, is away on a 3-year business trip at the local branch office, huh? Well, that sounds smart but brazen.
Maybe that's what they are planning. Sorry, Keith. I'll do something about it. I never thought they would steal the house you bought.
It's not your fault, sis. So, let me think what I can do. Of course, I'll help you.
Where are you now?
At my friend's place. I've got a place where I can settle down, so I'm fine. You just take care of yourself.
Okay, thanks. I can't forgive them. I'll call his mother. Depending on what they say, I'm prepared for the worst case. Fiona, how are you? It seems that you moved out without telling me, but where on earth did you move to? Oh, Caroline! I was just about to call you. I wouldn't do something so mean. Am I correct in assuming that Daniel is with you at your new place? Yes, of course. My son is with me. I didn't tell you because you are so insane and stubborn that I decided to give you a punishment before we move in together. Why would you do that? I don't remember doing anything to be punished. You are still saying that? I feel sorry for Daniel who has a wife like this. If you continue to be so selfish, we will have to consider divorce. What have I done? I don't remember doing anything to lead to divorce. That's enough. You're being supported by him. God, you're wrong. You think I'm the one being supported by him? That's right. We don't need a wife who doesn't treat her husband well, who makes $7,000 a month. $7,000? Did he really say $7,000? If you don't want to get divorced, apologize and agree to live with me. I'll forgive you if you apologize properly. Of course, I'll tell you where to move in after that. If you get down on your knees and beg me to move in with you, I'll tell you where to live. LOL. Demanding me to get down on my knees through a text? You want me to send you a picture of me on my knees? Yeah, that's a good idea. That's nice. I decline. Huh? There's no reason for me to do that. I don't have to apologize, and why should I? Caroline! All you do is talk back at me like that. You really are stubborn. Is it okay if Daniel divorces you? Yes, I'm so tired of it, so it's fine. Maybe it's better that way. Huh? Because think about it. I can divorce a husband with $700 income every month. What $700? Yes, his monthly income is $700. Did you know? It's just a part-time job. Don't make bad jokes. What the hell are you saying? Daniel is a high-class employee. His monthly salary is $7,000. You don't understand. Who told you $7,000? I told you many times. I asked Daniel. When I asked him about his monthly income, he used his fingers to say 7. With his fingers, wow. So he didn't verbally say 7,000? What? Surely he would be embarrassed to say 700. It's also your problem to assume it's 7,000 instead of thinking it as 700. Unfortunately, it is true that his income is $700. And yet, you've caused such trouble and people involved who have nothing to do with it. I don't want a husband like that anymore. Oh, fine. Same to you. I don't need a lying wife either. Well then, divorcing would be fine, right? I mean, I'm divorcing him. Then I'll be relieved. Yeah, sore loser. Well then, Daniel and I will live happily together in this 4DK house that he bought for me. Sorry, no. That house will be returned to its real owner. What? Return it? The real owner? What are you talking about? I have no idea what you mean. Caroline? What the hell is this? It's you, isn't it? Your brother came to me and asked me to leave this house. You siblings are just like each other. What's going on? Oh, he already came? What the hell? What do you mean he already came? Give me a break. That house was purchased by my brother. Huh? My brother Keith had a dream of having his own house from an early age. In order to buy a house, he worked hard at part-time jobs since he was a student, and after 8 years of working, he got his own house at the age of 26, even though he is single. You and Daniel moved into that precious house. What are you talking about? When his house was built, he couldn't live there yet because he was transferred to a local branch office for a limited period of 3 years. While he was away, I kept the spare key since I live in the next town. But it seems that Daniel took that spare key without permission and in a secret. What? I don't know what you heard from him, but it must have been very frustrating for my brother, who is the real owner of the house. It's a brand new house. When he came home for maintenance, such as weeding the garden and cleaning the house, he found out that someone had been living there. Of course, he would ask you guys to leave. I'm so confused. What am I supposed to do? It's simple. Why don't you just leave? I don't recommend you to run away or stay in the house because it won't be good for you. I can't just leave right away. Then you tell your brother that he should give this house to me and Daniel right now. Yes, that's it. Huh? What are you saying? Are you okay? Oh, of course I'm sure. He's the wife's brother, so he should listen to in-laws. What you're saying is insane. But unfortunately, actually, me and Daniel were not married anymore. Huh? Just a while ago, I finalized the divorce. What? That's impossible! Daniel hasn't responded yet. No, I had already asked him long ago. I'm so glad I prepared for it. What do you mean? You really don't know anything, do you? Daniel quit the company 6 months ago without telling me. What? That's a lie, right? Well, I thought it was irresponsible, but I can't help that he already quit. So I was working full-time for a while, supporting our life, and thinking that in the meantime, he could work part-time and look for a job. But what was he thinking? He didn't start looking for a job after a month, and occasionally go out for a short-term job or a day job, and the rest of the time, he would just laze around. I tried to rush him, but it only ended up in a fight. I was afraid that if we didn't do something, we would both fall apart. So I made him respond the paper with the promise that if he didn't find a new job in the next 5 months, we would get divorced. But when I looked at the calendar, I saw that the deadline had passed, so unfortunately, we are divorced. A part-time job? A day job? No way! You've got to be kidding! Then is it true that he earns $700? You should ask him for the number firmly and verbally. I'm not his wife anymore. I am divorced, so I have no further interest in telling his financial situation. And since you guys are trespassing, my brother has called the police. The police? Of course. You're staying in someone else's house without permission. Please get out of my brother's house as soon as possible. It's better for your own sake. That's all I have to say. Please accept this as my last kindness. Excuse me, Caroline! Now, if you'll excuse me.
How's it going, sis? Anything I can do to help?
Well, I've decided where I'm going to move to, so I guess the first thing I need to do is packing.
I see. Well, I'll go help. Leave the heavy lifting to me.
Hey, what are you going to do with that house? It's a great new place to live, but you know that thing happened before the actual owner lives in?
Haha, I know, right? Oh yeah. I wanted to tell you something about that. Actually, the land in that area has skyrocketed and I was able to sell it for almost as much as I paid for it. I couldn't live in that place anymore, so
Oh wow, that's great.
I got the fee for the inconvenience from them, and when I get transferred back here, I'll look for a better place to live.
Yeah, take your time to find a nice house this time, okay? I'll help you too. I'm glad it didn't become a negative experience for you.
I know, right? I'm totally fine. And you too, sis. I know you're starting from scratch again, but hang in there. I'm here for you.
Thank you.
Well, call me anytime. I'll come visit you at your new place when I get out of the busy work season.
Yeah, see you. After talking to Fiona, she was taken in a police car with Daniel, and she was sobbing. Even at the police station, she kept making excuses, making everyone tired. Finally, her uncle came to pick them up from the countryside and took them home. She had been lied by Daniel that he had bought a house, so she was a victim in one way. They had a big fight every day because she mistakenly thought that his monthly salary was $7,000 instead of $700. But the uncle got furious and told them both to work, and then they finally started to look for a job. Thanks to this, I finally live in peace. My hard work was praised at work, and I was successfully promoted to a full-time employee. I was able to start my post-divorce life with stability. As a side note, Fiona's habit of making wild assumptions has not been changed. I heard a few months later that she caused some trouble in my old apartment and the landlord sued her for damages.